Have you ever promised yourself that tomorrow would be different? You tell yourself you will wake up early, exercise, study, finish your work, or finally begin chasing your dreams. But when tomorrow arrives, something invisible pulls you back. You research your phone, scroll through social media, watch one more video, or convince yourself that you will start later. Hours later, hours disappear, guilt grows stronger, and another day ends without progress. Most people call this laziness. They blame themselves, believing that lack discipline or willpower. But what if that belief is completely wrong? What if laziness is not your biggest enemy at all? Modern psychology suggests that what we call laziness is often the result of hidden mental process, emotion struggles, and biological mechanics. Understanding this process is the first step toward finally breaking free. One of the most influential psychologists to explain this idea is Dr. Devon Price, author of Laziness Does Not Exist. Price argues that laziness is largely a myth created by unrealistic expectation. According to his research, people usually avoid tasks because they are exhausted, anxious, or emotionally drained, not because they simply don't care. When someone appears lazy, there is often an invisible barrier preventing action. Instead of asking why I am so lazy, Price encourages us to work. What is making this task feel so difficult? That simple shift changes everything because it replaces self blame with curiosity and understanding. Another famous psychologist, Dr. Albert Bandura, introduced the concept of self efficacy, which means your belief in your ability to succeed. Bandura discovered that people who doubt themselves often delay taking action even when they have necessary skills. If your brain believes failure is likely, it naturally avoids the discomfort of trying. The avoidance is commonly mistaken for laziness. But in reality, it is a defense mechanism. The less confidence you have, the more your brain encourages procrastination. Psychologist Dr. Roy Baumeister, known for his work on self control and decision making, explained that our mental energy is limited. Throughout the day, every decision you make, whether it's replying to messages, solving problems at work, or dealing with stress, uses part of mental resources. When those resources become depleted, your brain begins searching for the easiest and the most rewarding activities. That's why scrolling on your phone or watching videos suddenly feels that's why scrolling on your phone or watching videos suddenly feels irresistible after a long day. Behavioral psychologist B.F. Skinner also showed that human behavior is shaped by rewards. Modern technology takes advantage of principle perfectly. Every notifications, like short video and endless feed provides your brain with a quick burst of dopamine. The chemical lead to motivation and pleasure compared to the instant rewards. Starting for an exam, exercising, or building a business, it feels slow and difficult. Your brain naturally follows the reward that arrived first, even if it hurts your future. The truth is both surprising and hopeful. Laziness is rarely about being weak or unmotivated. More often, it is the result of fear, stress, low confidence, and mental fatigue, and an environment filled with constant distraction. Once you understand that your brain is responding exactly as psychology predicts, you stop seeing yourself as the problem, and that realization opens the door to real change. So now we will understand the ideas of Japan, which will overcome the laziness. So now we will first start with Kaizen. If someone told you that the secret to overcoming laziness was not working harder but starting smaller, you might think it sounds too simple to work. Every new year, millions of people make ambitious resolutions. They promise to wake up at 5 a.m., exercise for 2 hours, read 50 books, quit every bad habit overnight, and completely reinvent their lives. The problem is not that the people are weak. The problem is that they try to change faster than their brain is willing to accept. Japan discovered this too long before modern psychology confirmed it. Instead of chasing giant leaps, Japanese culture developed a psychology that believes extraordinary success is simply the result of tiny improvements repeated every single day. That philosophy is called Kaizen. The word Kaizen combines two Japanese words, Kai meaning change and the Zen meaning good or better. Together, they represent the ideas of continuous improvement rather than asking, how can I completely transform my life today? Kaizen asks a much simple question, what is the smallest step I can take right now? That single question changes everything. Imagine someone who has never done exercise. Most people would tell them to join a gym, buy expensive equipment, follow a strict diet, and work out for an hour every day. The brain immediately sees this as a difficult, uncomfortable, and exhausting. Kaizen offers a completely different approach. Instead of 1 hour, walk for 1 minute. Instead of reading an entire book, read one page. Instead of cleaning the whole house, organize one desk. Instead of writing 1,000 words, write one sentence. These actions sound almost too small to matter, but that's exactly why they work. The human brain is designed to avoid large amount of uncertainty and discomfort. Research have repeatedly found that beginning is often the hardest part of any task. Once action starts, momentum naturally follows. One page becomes 5 pages, 1 minute becomes 20 minutes, one sentence becomes an entire chapter. Success does not begin with motivation, it begins with the moment. This is why Kaizen has transformed not only personal lives but also entire industries. After the Second World War, many Japanese countries embraced Kaizen by encouraging employees to make tiny improvements every day instead of waiting for revolutionary breakthrough. Small daily changes reduces mistakes, increased efficiency, and eventually helped Japanese companies become global leaders in manufacturing, technology, and innovation. The same principle works for your life. You don't become disciplined in one day, but you become disciplined one small decision at a time. The answer is obvious. Tiny action repeated consistently always defeat giant plans that never happen. But Kaizen teaches something even deeper. It tells us never to compare ourselves with others. Compare yourselves only with the person you were yesterday. If today you are 1% better than yesterday, then today was a success. 1% sound insignificant, but mathematics tells a different story. Improve by just 1% every day for 1 year, and you don't become mostly 365% better. The improvement compounds, and it teaches that consistency is infinitely more powerful than intensity. But Japan's wisdom does not stop there. Another ancient practice attacks laziness from a completely different angle, not through work, but through self-control. It is called Hara Hachi Bu. For centuries, particularly on the Japanese island of Okinawa, one of the world's famous blue zones, where people often live exceptionally long and healthy lives. People have followed a simple rule before every meal. They stop eating when they are 80% full. Not completely full, not stuffed, not until they cannot move. Only 80%. At first, this seems like a rule about food. In reality, it's a life lesson about life. Hara Hachi Bu trains one of the most powerful abilities a human being can develop. The ability to stop before excess. Modern society constantly tells us to consume more food, entertainment, scrolling, shopping, and distraction. The brain becomes addicted to just one more video episode, notification, 1 hour wasted. Hara Hachibu teaches the opposite. It teaches satisfaction instead of endless consumption. Every time someone chooses to stop before access, they strengthen their self-control. And the self-control works like a muscle. The more you train it, the stronger it becomes. Think about it. Discipline is not built only while walking. It is built through hundreds of small decisions throughout the day. Every choice shapes our identity. When you choose moderation instead of access, you quietly tell your brain, I am someone who controls my impulses, not someone controlled by them. That identity is far more powerful than motivation because motivation changes with your mood. Identity changes your life. This is why the Japanese approach feels so different from many productivity systems. It does not demand endless willpower. It creates an environment where good decisions become natural. Kaizen says start impossibly small. Hara Hachibu says stop before excess. One teaches you how to begin, and the another teaches you when to stop. Together, they quietly shape your habit until discipline no longer feels like a struggle. But even with this powerful principle, life will never be perfect. You will still make mistakes, still have bad days, and still fail. The question is not whether you will fail. The question is what you will do after you fail. And this is where Japan offers perhaps its most beautiful lesson of all. A philosophy that sees brokenness not as weakness, but as the beginning of something stronger. Now we will explore the Kintsugi, the art of becoming stronger through your scars, and Wabi Sabi, the timeless philosophy that teaches you to embrace imperfection instead of fearing it. These two ideas may completely change the way you see failure, success, and yourself. What happens when you fail? For most people, failure feels like the end. They miss a few workouts and they exercise it altogether. They skip studying for one day and convince themselves they are not disciplined enough. They break a good habit, lose confidence, and slowly return to their old lifestyle. Many people don't fail because they are not capable. They fail because they believe one mistake erases all their progress. But in Japan, there is beautiful philosophy that teaches the exact opposite. Instead of hiding broken things, the Japanese learned to honor them. This philosophy is called Kintsugi. Hundreds of years ago, when a valuable ceramic wall or cup broke, people did not throw it away. They carefully repaired the cracks using lacquer mixed with gold powder. Instead of trying to hide the damage, they made the crack shine. The broken object became even more beautiful than before because its history was visible. Every crack told a story of survival, resilience, and restoration. Kintsugi is much more than an art form. It is a way of looking at life. It reminds us that being broken does not make you worthless. Think about the most successful people in the world. Very few reach success without failure. Great athletes lost important matches, writers faced rejection, scientists performed thousands of unsuccessful experiments before making an one breakthrough. Every successful person has the crack in their story. The difference is that they did not allow those cracks to define them. They allowed those cracks to teach them. Imagine two peoples trying to build their habits. The first person decides to wake up early every morning. Kintsugi teaches us to replace shame with growth. Instead of asking, why did I fail? Ask, what did this failure teach me? That simple shift changes everything. Every setback becomes a lesson, every mistake becomes an experience, and every failure becomes preparation for the future success. Now imagine combining every Japanese philosophy you have learned into one simple daily system. You wake up in the morning instead of checking your phone immediately. Imagine following it for 1 month. Your habits begin to feel natural. Imagine follow it for 1 year. Your confidence grows. Your discipline becomes part of your identity. Now imagine living this way for 10 years. You would you would become almost unrecognizable compared to the person you are today. Not because of one dramatic breakthrough, but because of thousands of small decisions made consistently. This is the real lesson Japan teaches the world. First, Kaizen, improve a little every day. Hara Hachi Bu, practice moderation and self-control. Third, Kintsugi, turn your failure into your greatest strength. Start with one, practice it today, then repeat tomorrow. Because your future is not created by what you do once. It's created by what. If this message inspired you, remember the real transformation begins the moment when you stop waiting for the perfect time and start taking the smallest possible action. Your future self is being shaped by the choice you make today. So you don't wait for tomorrow. Begin now, one step, one habit, one day at a time. Your new life starts today.